found by maggots and flies, land that blood was shed over in order to declare our own, because we had to conquer more than what was loaned, and more was never and will never be enough. We chewed through the flesh of our own kind like the meat wasn't even tough. Yes, our greed is comparable to cannibalism. We label creativity done on dilapidated buildings as vandalism, and we can become known as the land of overcapacitated prisons, one of the few places the minorities can be seen as the majority and the higher authorities carry weapons and then preach against them. Yeah, we're full of it. And I'm not speaking of Malcolm X's speech when I say we teach ballot or the bullet, finger inching toward the trigger, threatening to pull it. And if we killed our own people, for you other countries, it'll be a massacre. We laugh as we make your eyes well up and your thoughts smear unclear vision, and we never fail to strike up a new mission without accomplishing the one previously set. How irresponsible can you get? But please stay tuned for your morning daily announcements. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the poorly funded public school to which my feet drag, and to the wrecked economy that struggles to stand one nation under an unappreciated God, indivisible, in a crooked system for all, especially those with a little extra melanin in their skin. It's a continuous battle full of stubborn people who rather pick sides and set aside their problems so nobody wins. But oh, I can't forget, red, blue, and white. Oh, your marvelous stars and stripes, enough inequality to fuel hunger stripes. The innocent inside your jail bars and your children playing outside and finding crack pipes, and misled women who suffer from vanity and men who just want the booty America. Regardless of your shortcomings, you are the ideal country. And you usually answer when called to duty, so America, I salute your hideous, money-crazy, over-processed beauty.
I watched a little boy give birth to a burning bush in Sunday school. He wanted to know about God from the baptism of my mouth, but the gospel thoughts of my words could not breach the contract between me and the God the preacher swore by Lazarus I knew. I would have given the martyr of my halo just to tell him about the God I forgot to believe in yesterday. Because the God he seeks from me today, the lexicon of a Bible can't even fingerprint or bridge the gaps between the resurrection and the reformation of Christ. His religious fervor has become a glamour shot, and I often wonder if this Bible knows his real name. That boy told me in a voice that I never heard, so finished with God, with a tongue like a guillotine to fate, ready to commit suicide over the bow of his head. He said, "This is my last dollar. My mother has cancer and God's going to heal her with it." His voice choke chains me in the opposite direction of God and makes me think about the road I found him in, the road the Baptist hands tailored my soul to. And I want to tell him about the cost of the Holy Ghost in America, where the only in gods we trust worth trusting are painted green, which is the currency that slaughterhouses this American dream. I want to tell him how in the Middle East there are toy soldiers and turban militia fighting over the holy water of oil, and combat boots, grenades, and gun brandished prayer beds, how this world has become a societal pillar of warfare while God is an omnipresent plaything. I want to tell him how he's a deity blow-up doll and a little girl's Barbie playing dress up in the closets of false prophets. And economists, I want to tell him what this world made God sent to. How once upon a time there was a God who loved everyone because we were all his first loves in flesh and blood. I want to tell him how some people have purgatories for hearts, and how some people think that there is a such thing as a God who doesn't love clean. I want to tell them about Buddha and rosaries, and how we are all divided under the wrong blessings. I want to tell them about civil unions, and how there is a God that doesn't believe in that love, but I don't believe in that one. I want to tell them about crooked priests and a little boy's raped atheist of faith. I want to tell them about non-believers and the reasons they believe. I want to tell them about hypocrites. I'm not a hypocrite. I believe in God, just not the one you exercise from a Bible. Your God who was baptized and backwashed in a generation of morale, as advertised he was in alleyway abortion back in the 70s, in a pro-life C-section, improperly cut short by the commercial interval of a baby broker, and he was the clicking tongue of a jamming gun that swore by a screaming religion that it was a God man to save someone. I want to know about him. Like God knows of safety, you can find one at the end of every gun. Doesn't mean you're safe though. I want to know about the God who loves fags. I want to know about the God who loves fags and sings Christmas carols and Hanukkah and can't be anything but all loving. I don't want to raise your political God, not the one you painted over this dollar bill. I don't want your root of all evil or your make this world go round religion. I want the God who knows the square root of a heart and forgives like the rainbow forgives the flood. So when that boy sacrifices his last dollar to the collection plate, like a ram caught in the greedy tide of a metal bush, I'll hold my tongue and pray with him. Because I know that we are both here in this church today because we hurt like grievances in prayer form. And New Year's without revelations, our prayer hands like the spine of an unpublished Bible. I'll believe in the God he believes will heal her, his mother, the world. I'll let the baptism of my mouth leave a hallelujah in that collection plate for the God I saw in him that Sunday as a way of reclaiming the gospel thoughts of us. That burning bush told me to follow him and free the Israelites of us all.
Our imagination is dying. Though once upon a time,
Or maybe twice.
lived an unearthly paradise hidden behind restless eyes where poetry flowed.
Straight into the mainstream. Cut off at 140 characters.
I scribble pink, orange, and honesty, speak red, yellow, and sympathy, and dream in neons not seen by the naked eye.
Under the microscopes, the ants go marching in the same unique attire that only the rich retire in. Following so far behind, they are blind to who is leading. Who at the time when glued to a TV screen, every advertisement seems like a most wanted poster for murder of our ability to think for ourselves.
Last week, I told all of my friends I quit the piano because I didn't have enough free time, when really, the Keys committed suicide, one after the other, after I told them all of your family have been replaced by iPods.
iPhones, iPads, I'm overwhelmed. I'm sorry. iPods, iPhones, iPads, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not buying it because the apps may be free, but it's costing you your peace of mind. But hey, that's okay because the more gigabytes you have, the more memory space you get for, what matters.
It's only matter, but the simple-minded youth download denial one click at a time,
Like punches.
The deep thinkers take their beatings. Normally I can't walk 3 feet without falling into a dream. But lately, the rabbit holes have morphed into shallow graves where they will bury my ideas alive. Bury me with my notebook.
I'd rather stand and die for my culture than live on my knees for this modern society. I'm sorry, my legs just don't bend that way.
You can put me in a straitjacket.
And poison my honey, but your money can't buy my 2 cents. And all I want is change, but it's not as easy as changing your profile picture. Mirror, mirror, Facebook page. Whose photo's real, whose photo's fake? Let's rewind back to simpler times. I'm sticking with my 80s playlist. Every rose has its thorns because that's what you are to me. A thorn to my side, telling me what's beautiful.
Wrap it around your thick heads because I'm starting to believe it was the apple that bit into the human being. If it's true, you are the universe experiencing itself. Stardust swept and left for dead, so before then, I'd like to experience myself to the fullest extent.
I'm a daydreaming pro, trying to teach my brain cell disciples, yet my cries can't be heard over the 1,000 lost prophets.
So please, remember to continue to prophesize with your heart and then your pen, because the most beautiful things are coming from your own head. Though the future is demanding,
Us poets are still standing.
Honey, I'm home.
Shut up, just shut up. I'm done playing your maid and I'm done cleaning up your mess.
My mess?
You right. This morning you peed all over the toilet seat. What you thought I wasn't gonna see? You tried because you did a couple of times last week.
Last week, I wasn't even here.
Yes, you were.
Who you had up in here?
My husband.
And you busted, because I don't even drink beer.
I know that.
Where? With who? You've been where? You know what? I'm done with you. Don't you dare act surprised. Matter of fact, you can get your clothes.
Can I get
No, you can't get it right.
See, there you go. Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions, making statements, and assuming you're wrong. You know he just left. I guess he didn't even drink the rest. Matter of fact, just throw away the can, you make yourself look crazy.
Crazy! I'll show you crazy! Get it on my face! Ooh, I can't stand you! You know what? I hate the way you cook, like you don't know how to use salt. Or the way you drag your feet, like you don't know how to walk.
Wait, let's not get on capabilities. Like the way you say your sentences very slow, like you don't know how to talk.
I got a speech impediment.
I don't want to hear it.
I got a speech impediment.
Nope.
I got a speech impediment.
No, what you gotta do is brush your teeth. You see,
It wasn't always like this in the beginning. I would sneak and buy roses. We would creep off to the park, anonymously find ways to be together, but only in the dark.
You see, his love just isn't enough for me to keep me there, to keep me faithful. Even being the mother of his one and only son couldn't keep me there. I cry for my soul, I cry for my son. When I hold him, I see he has his father's eyes. My husband loves me deeper than the ocean's core, mantle, ocean, and crust, but it isn't enough for me. Marriage, I rejected. Marriage, I left it, so it's infidelity.
I only wanted the best, although our actions does not betray. But I never thought that us two would come upon this day. You see, she can be hotter than the earth's core. But if our love does not soar, we are falling together. We are sinking together. We determine the weather. I'm crying and it's looking like rain outside.
I'm crying, I can feel the pain inside.
We're crying, it's looking like rain outside.
I guess my husband
Your husband, my wife,
and your wife
wouldn't agree upon this life.
I guess all I'm trying to say is
Enough is enough. But I ain't clean no pee off no toilet seat.
Stephen,
Title of our piece is
title of our piece is called This Does Not Make You Hip Hop.
This
does not make you hip hop. And this does not make you hip hop. Stop. That gimmick you got on top of them already whack bars. And bars is what it sounds like. Your mind is like behind, caged up and yet to be released. That management you wanted got you on a tight leash, and that advance you got dried up last week. Take off your snap and snap back into reality. People don't want to hear about what you got, and you're not hot like the sun. I got 99 problems, and you being rich is just not one. This does not make you hip hop.
Okay, you can dance.
That's cool.
Even with no hands.
That's cool.
When you're sagging low, it's the ocean floor with your pants and your IQ score got stuck in the quicksand.
Come on, man.
It's getting low by the minute. Maybe I shouldn't have got started because just wasting my time on you makes me feel bad for speaking on the mentally retarded.
You're a super O. You're a super O.
So what would you do if I sent the boys in blue to you at your little Grove Street party?
Woo, woo.
Cause you think just because you got dreads and you make music, you the next Bob Marley?
You don't have enough balls to shoot the sheriff.
And the islands of Waikiki. You strut around thinking you're the image of perfection, but your lyrics seem to leave you out some type of infection.
Ew.
You're a little girl who daddy didn't show you enough affection. No, you're just another whore of expensive price. Willing to sell your body without thinking twice. A prostitute covered in Gucci, bragging about Menagelo and Tucci. You think sex equals success, so you add implants to your oversized breast.
Boobies.
Move ribs so you can brag how you smaller than the rest. Bragging how you the baddest. How the lady says you got your butt looking the fattest.
Booty.
Willing to sell so short for a higher status. I see you, but I hear anything you say.
So
Maybe
let
your
me-
lace runs too tight to your brain.
So let me explain. Remember, back on the streets on the Boulevard of Linden, New York block parties, DJs are spinning, and you think because you got yourself a good hook, you're Charlie Sheen, winning. But if they were hip-hop guys, you would be sinning.
I remember when the reason for spitting was to end up in a better direction, be able to catch a glimpse of reality through someone else's perception. To now where the meaning of affection is to interpret through somebody telling me use the right contraception.
I remember when there was more love than violence in lyrics. Hear it, then bob your head without thought, without worry of being brainwashed by subliminal messages. The rumor, cancerous tumor toxicity of the Illuminati. Hip-hop stopped when... Hip-hop stopped when wealth took over and we were force-fed lies and the glamour of celebrity lives. Real is no longer recognized. So let the present be the present and the past be the past. But if future is the future, then this verse here is my last.
I don't even know why you guys even bother at this
Bass
point.
guy can't save you now.
My black is like virginity on a Saturday night. Gone. And since black men claim to be raped by the system, I find my purity in white. That's a lie. The truth is that I've never tried to label myself as white. Everyone else has, from friends to enemies and families to the disowned members. At the age of 12, when my sister first heard me speak, she told me I needed to learn how to talk like a black man because apparently proper is the new slang and slang is the new black, but she never really told me what black really was, so I assumed it was synonymous with ghetto, that it means using words like Gucci and calling everything negative gay, or having babies jump rope with the umbilical cords, then tripping over the thought of having something to look up to other than a deadbeat until that stereotype becomes their father figures. My father was like the stereotype that said I can't be black because of the way I walk, because apparently I walk on sunshine as of rainbows, our roads to heaven. Well, maybe my black is a rainbow. Maybe I've left one too many footprints, and maybe I don't plan on betraying Jesus with a pot of gold coins lying on the other side. I can't force myself to live in a black and white world if I could.
My black will be a Milano, my Milano will be a North Star, as yellow as the sun, so that on the sun days when the sun tells me my skin is getting darker, I can tell him, my God, you're just colorblind. I wonder if Jesus is actually colorblind, if Black Jesus is real, if Willie Lynch was his Judas, and if instead of dying on a cross, he was crucified by a noose. I wonder if he was just trying to wade in those waters. He turned into wine, and that the people drinking tasted the freedom he was trying to reach. One thing I know is that Jesus doesn't know how to color my jeans inside the lines. Or else the way I don't sag these jeans wouldn't have been the cause of my brother telling me I'm not a real man or that I'm not a real nigga. For the record, I never wanted to be a nigga. For the stereotype, I would never want my jeans to be lower than my test scores, which would never be lower than the dropout rate. Speaking of the dropout rate, did you know that each year almost 1.5 million students are whipped into the shape of a dropout, while the statistics hang around the necks of over 600,000 African Americans in the form of a gold chain noose, lynching them until believing chains and whips should excite them, igniting that Jesus inside them, treating my body like the Golgotha where they crucified their senses, like a way of repenting for their ignorance. How many times they expect the God in me to forgive when no one can forget how I choose Dragon Ball over basketball, or how I put the skinny in skinny jeans? That's just my black. But they give me veins of blue. The Harlem Renaissance Jazz era that's like a Great Depression. Every time my stock market happiness is crashed, every time someone claims I gotta walk a certain way, or talk a certain way, or listen to a certain kind of music, well, I listen to rock and pop, yet I still manage to have the body like a jukebox, the inspiration like a quarter, my voice like an amp, the rib cage like the strings of a guitar that no one will play in the soul, like the saxophone whose reed has been placed in the mouth of God as he transposed sheet music into Bible verses, made every Christian dance when they heard that Holy Ghost in his breath, my black. That is my pride as well as my struggle, my gift, as well as the box it comes in, my race that is slowly racing towards its own finish line, and lastly, my skin tone that is not my deformity.
Satan was the ultimate slave master. Lucifer made lyrics subject to slander, as if melodies and music had been thrown into a blender, mixing so eloquently that
they entice listeners to ingest subliminal acoustics into their brainwaves, causing their tongues to contort to catchphrases like,
look at me now, oh, I'm getting paper.
But look at you then, because the paper you're rapping about chasing isn't even paper at all. You rappers are becoming modern-day slaves to the industry that played you into thinking you're getting paid in trees, while honestly, you're collecting currency consisting of cotton stitches.
And reverting to cotton pick and letting white men own us. We fill dollar bills, open luxurious doors to pearly gate shooting bills galore. But those glorious guardian angels and what you rely upon so greatly are dead presidents that once enslaved your ancestors. I mean, let's face it.
Benjamin Franklin was a slave owner, and so was President Lincoln. Just because he signed the bill that abolished slavery, that doesn't mean that you should
Chain your brains, abolish your morals, and chase your beloved bills.
Just live your life.
Hey.
You steady chasing that paper.
Those buku bucks that got you stuck on pack rap mentalities. Stacking those greenbacks got you backpack rappers backtracking back to the days when the North Star was all that mattered.
It twinkled and blingified the skies just as jewels blingify your neck. Every aerial suicide door you see take flight doesn't make you as fly a star as that one.
Defending your selfish wants with sing-along songs. I thought I told you I'm a star. You see the ice, you see the cars.
But you're living like stars never fall. Shooting stars are no longer like universal marvels, but now a term to describe T.I.'s weapon charge.
Shooting at people while every other star in the universe is shooting daggers of slander, hoping that the record sales of the competition will also take a dive.
Can't see y'all boys, the money in the way.
And on the basis of who's currently making the most currency, circles are formed in many galaxies of the universal record labels.
Orbiting Nicki Minaj's sons are expanding YMC and B's, and you paper makers are becoming paper chasers.
So beyond this, you can't see that everyone who partakes in the industry is part of the slave trade. The A&Rs recruited you from your roots.
From starting in your basements.
And the promoters sell your products like auctioners as well as the management. And you've been stripped so far from your roots that even your consumers have rooted pack rat mentalities into themselves.
They've got stacks of your albums.
Stacks of your posters and double XL magazines. We call these groupies the #1 fans. Brainwash to spread cash like fans, but these bills don't generate enough breeze to cool down the Dante Infernos of this industry.
And once you get some cash, you'll reach your higher status. Keep them coming.
And you'll never experience the lifestyle of a freed man.
Never experience such because you'll never replenish your morals.
And you'll never replenish them because you'll never be an influential, advocating, paper-changing poet, saturating white loose leaf with black ink.
You'll never be us.
You're too busy chasing that paper.
Paper.
I once believed in once upon a times. Fairy tales and make-believes, far-off lands ruled by frosted-up dreams, pages upon pages of endless possibilities.
Of climbing mountains and kissing clouds, of dragon rides through midnight air, jeweled crowns and shining armor, breathing in the sweet smell of imagination.
Because I once believed in storybook endings, where the prince comes riding in on the white horse, the beautiful ballroom gowns, the glass slippers, and the